Welcome, everyone. I'm Jan Lehman, CEO and visionary of CTC Productivity, and I'm the host of our webinar series. The format we follow is we're going to hit heavy content at the beginning, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A. If you have questions along the way, just enter them into chat. We're probably going to wait to the end, though, to kind of answer the questions, but go ahead and enter that in there. I will forewarn you, it's a lot of content today. Please look at this as awareness training. This is not hands-on detailed training. It's mostly to help you aware of what's possible within the Microsoft 365 suite. So that's our intention. And I have to call it the elephant in the room. A lot of people make fun of us that we use Zoom for our Microsoft 365 webinars. Our personal philosophy is if the Microsoft suite meets your needs, why in the world would you pay for third-party software? Because it's got you're already paying for it. It's got the integration, Copilot can access it, all of that. But there are times that there are business reasons to actually use third-party software, and we support that. In our particular case, we have one Zoom license, and we use it for our webinars because a lot of people are attending our webinars are on Google, and we don't want to create a speed bump for them to attend the webinars. So we have one Zoom license. We would never buy Zoom licenses for everybody, but just want to call that out because a lot of people are making fun of us. My friends, like, why are you on Zoom? So today the topic is going to be really all around the task management tools and how to use Copilot in there, drive adoption. And I am really looking forward to this. Nancy Krushke is one of our CTC team members, who's an excellent trainer, excellent Microsoft 365 consultant, is doing the topic today. And as I was looking at her slides, I'm like, there's stuff in here I didn't even know of. So Nancy, I'm really looking forward to learning from you. I'm going to enter into chat some links. And Nancy, if you'll go to the next slide. The webinar that we're doing next is in February, and it's on a Friday. We've always done them on Tuesdays, but I am, for whatever reason, traveling every Tuesday in November. So we're doing it on a Friday. And it's going to be on meeting management, simplifying it, and using some of the tools we haven't really talked much about, like Loop, and then also Copilot. And so it'll be another really interesting conversation. And here is the QR code for those of you that are watching the recording. If that's easier for you, since you can't access the links, it'll take you to all the same stuff. So perfect. Awesome. So we always say we don't want companies just using technology just for the heck of it. They should really be focused on solving business issues. And so we're going to start off talking about some of the business issues that we see most businesses have. So if I'm coaching a leader in a company and I see any of these challenges, I know there's something in the Microsoft suite that will actually help solve the issue. So do me a favor, go ahead and open chat and enter into chat. If you have any of these issues, all of these issues, I'd be curious. Certainly the issues that we're going to be addressing today are around accountability, planning, kind of a little bit of everything in here, right, Nance? A little bit of collaboration, communication, lots of different things. But whenever we see any of those kind of issues and challenges, we know there's something in the Microsoft 365 suite. Thanks, Joe. Got all of them. That's typically the answer for all, many. Yeah, you're in the right place. It's great. So perfect. So go ahead, Nance, you can slide. We also like to talk about our case studies because our intention is to make leaders and users aware of the potential of the software. And often it's helpful to look at it from a client's perspective. So we write client case studies, always from the client's vantage point. We talk about the issues, challenges, and then what the ROI is. And so in this particular case, we were working with BDH, who two of them are registered, but I haven't seen them come in yet. It's a phenomenal architectural and interior design firm. And their biggest issue was all around administrative processes. They were very, very manual. So they wanted to solve that. They were definitely all in with one of leveraging technology. Our ideal clients are all into technology, want to know what's working, how we can leverage it to drive productivity. And their ultimate goal was really to create, I can hear the CEOs or the partners, senior partners voice saying a fantastic, because that's what she always says, a fantastic customer and employee experience. And so that was their end goal. So we did a number of different things for them. The first one was focused on really just streamlining, automating all the processes. Oh, we linked to a lot of one non-Microsoft product, and then focused really then to save time for the employees so they could focus on higher value work. So that was ultimately what the end goal was for this solution. And we did a number of projects for them. The first couple here, we did the paid time off process. And then if you're an EOS company, you know what the 555 process is. If you're not an EOS company, just think of it as a quarterly check-in with employees to find out if they're happy. So we streamlined the PTO process and went from days to seconds of really just getting that information in and approved. We created a Power App within the Microsoft 365 suite to do the 555 process, the EOS process. Again, if you're not an EOS company, it's just an app on your phone that employees can use to really answer a couple questions to say if they're happy and all is well. And so needless to say, the employees were happy because these were super easy tools. And HR was happy because it was a centralized database that they could actually access versus look for random emails with the information. Perfect. And okay, Angela just joined from BDH. So Angela, welcome. I don't know, you didn't know I'm going to be doing your case study. I love it. So the other thing we did is looked at their project proposal process. And in this particular case, they wanted to move the project proposal process out of their ERP tool. So that's what we did. And we integrated the flow within Canva and Microsoft 365. So again, Canva is an exceptional third-party tool. It was really great for marketing. That's where they did a lot of their marketing and graphics and things like that. And so it was important to really link those two tools, which is no problem with the Microsoft 365 suite. And so at the end, the marketing team and the project managers were all much, much happier with the solution. And we'll show you some data from that. So I love these slides. So this was the before image, and then I'll show you the after image. And so Nance, go back and do the before and after, because that just makes me so happy to see that, the streamlined and simplified process. So this was all around their project proposal process, another thing that we worked on with them. So the investment for them, so we did these things plus a number of other things helping them really fully leverage Teams. Arnie brought up the point earlier, most companies do not have Microsoft Teams and SharePoint and permissions set up properly. So it's really helping them understand and set it properly. And the investment was a little over 20,000. The ROI that came from it, ongoing cost. We always say the ongoing cost is nothing. You're already paying for Microsoft licensing. That what we mean by no ongoing cost mean get rid of third-party software so you don't have to pay for those licensing. Then you can take advantage of the integration and you're building your knowledge base within the Microsoft 365 environment for Copilot to use. So, we both basically build the solution, configure it in your environment, and you pay us one time and you don't have an ongoing subscription fee. That's what we mean by that. So the proposal process, we reduced the number of steps by a little under 50%, and we automated 90% of the workflow and basically reduced the timeline for proposals to get signed from 1 to 2 weeks to 1 to 3 days. If you are in the sales role within your company, you probably know it's scary when your clients aren't signing your proposals and contracts because every day they wait, you run the risk of whether they're going to do that or not. So huge savings that came from the work we did there. In the link that I sent, this case study is actually in there. So perfect. All right, Nance, you are up. Thank you.
All right, welcome, welcome. So task management. And I think it was Mark said, just getting into 365 and learning the different task management apps. And that's one of the things that I hear from clients all the time, and probably so do Jan and Arnie, is with Microsoft 365, there are several task management apps. And it's like, what do they all do? And why do I want to use one over another? So that is part of what we're going to start out talking about here. So I'm just going to explain what the task apps are, talk about how they're integrated into other Microsoft 365 applications, a few use cases of why you want to use one over another, talk about the Copilot that is now embedded and integrated inside of Planner, and a little bit on adoption strategies. Not a lot of heavy on that, but just a little bit at the end. So I'm probably going to talk pretty fast because I do have a lot of information to cover. If you have questions, put them in the chat. Jan will circle back to those as we get toward the end of the presentation. So what are the Microsoft task management apps? One is ToDo. That's the first one. And think of ToDo as your personal. Those are your private tasks. Those are just for you. However they pop into your head, come out of meetings, get given to you by your boss. or a manager or however they get to you, those think of to-do as personal. Planner is for group. So and when we talk about integrations, planners integrated inside of teams, makes it very easy if you're working on a project. Maybe it's not even a project, but it's just team tasks. And so those would be in Planner. And then Microsoft Project. So Microsoft Project has been this standalone and a really in-depth project manager a lot of companies use. Microsoft has decided to rename that, and it is now either Planner Basic or Planner Premium, and I'll explain as we go through what that means. One thing to be aware of is that Project on the Web is going to be totally retired as of September 26th. That's as of a week or two ago when that email came out. So between now and September 2026, who knows what's going to happen? But that is their plan, that Microsoft Project itself is going to be completely retired by the end of next year.
Nancy, is there a desktop version of Project that'll stick around? Or when we say it's going to be retired on the online, that
I
means it's
don't think
all?
so. I think it's
Okay,
completely going away.
okay.
Many of the items that I read talk about Project Online, but I do believe that the desktop project is going away as well. They're trying to move all of their applications to the web.
Okay, got it.
So Project on the Web, how come this slide isn't in the right spot? Oh, yeah, this is. So your projects have a new place. They're now projects on the web, but really when you go to open project, it says, hey, it's not really here. You go into Planner. So I did want to just touch on that too, that even if you do go to your waffle when you're on the web and you click on project, this is what you're going to see pop up. It's going to say it doesn't exist anymore. It's still go ahead and open Planner. So I wanted to just let people know that as well. So when do we want to use the task app and the purpose? So I mentioned already, it's your personal tasks. It allows you to go ahead and use the My Day to prioritize, to efficiently organize and manage your personal or private tasks. Planner, those are your group or team tasks. It helps you streamline the task management. It brings clarity and organization for everyone on the team, and it enhances that collaboration. So in the past, maybe use an Excel spreadsheet before Planner. Maybe it was, just in the meeting notes that came out, the minutes that came out of meetings, that's where everything was. This gives you a place that everybody can go to the plan and they can see if they want to just see theirs, great. If they want to see everybody's, then they can see everybody's and what the status is and where it stands. So that is really nice. When we go to project/now Planner Premium, this allows you to create schedules, add dependencies, view Gantt charts, and monitor resources, which are typically the people resources. And so Planner Premium really brings that information in. That was that extra project license, which was much more expensive than just Planner Premium. And I have a slide on that too. So where can we find all of these different apps? Where are they integrated? And some of the integrations I'm going to talk about, you might go, oh, yeah, I know that's there. And others, you're like, oh, didn't know that lived there. So with the To-Do app, there are several places that you can access the To-Do app. And one is on the web. And this is that little waffle, those 9 dots I was talking about. When you click on that, if you see project, it's really going to take you to Planner. And so you can go to the web and you can access the To-Do app. You can download the desktop To-Do app. And so that does have a desktop, just like your Word and Excel and PowerPoint and so on. And so you can access it there. But also Microsoft has pulled in the To-Do app. It is replacing the Task app inside of Outlook. And so whether you go to To-Do, whether you go to Outlook on the web or you're using the desktop app, either the classic or the new Outlook desktop app, you will be able to see the To-Do app inside of there. So just always look for that check mark. They haven't changed that app or that icon right now. So that
Yeah.
indicates To-Do. They keep changing the icons as well, so I'm hoping they're done pretty soon. Also, if you are in Planner, so this is Planner on the web, you do see My Tasks. So not only can you go to the To-Do app, so back here, you can go to the To-Do app on the web or the To-Do app on the desktop, but you could go to the Planner app on the web and you can still see all of your tasks that are in To-Do. That's the My Tasks. And so here's all your private tasks that are listed in there. So that is a nice thing. And then also inside of Microsoft Teams, they have put Planner. Now, this app, if you've been using Teams for a while, it has changed its name multiple times. It started out with Planner, then they changed it Planner and To Do, and now they've changed it back to Planner with the new Planner icon. And so it's nice that it integrates again, as you see, it brings the My Tasks. So these are your private tasks. Those are the ones that you enter yourself. And then also in the To-Do app, it also brings in your flagged emails, which is nice as well. So you don't have to go over to email to say, oh, I have some tasks in To-Do, and now I have some tasks over in my email that I flagged. If you flag them, they're going to show up in your To-Do app. So Planner in Teams, the web and the desktop, you're going to be able to go ahead and see that as well. See the Planner in there and Planner on the web. I think I have some duplication, but that's okay. Just know they're integrated everywhere, right? So if you're like, hey, I'm over in Outlook, I want to see my to-dos, you can do that. I'm in Teams, I want to see my to-dos, I can do that. I'm in Planner on the web, you can see your to-dos. So
Hey, Dan, hold on a second. Somebody is saying, can you share your screen? But I'm seeing what you're doing, so I don't know. Is anybody having issues seeing the slides? Right now, there's a slide, it says use cases with the magnifying glass.
No, I'm not seeing her screen. I'm just seeing her video of her.
Oh, Nancy, did you share?
I see it. It's showing up on mine.
I can see it. It says use cases.
Oh, that's so weird.
I can see it too.
I can see it.
Maybe turn it off and on again.
Look at the tabs at the top of your Zoom window. You might be selected on meeting, which I believe will show the person and not the screen. There should be another tab that says Nancy's screen.
That worked. Thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you. Perfect. I was worried nobody was seeing the screens all along.
way
so
to
thank
go,
you,
Ben.
Jonah.
Way to go.
Oh, and thanks for everybody entered in chat. That's perfect. Thank you. All right, we're good.
Okay. So when might you use, the different ones? And so let's again come back to To-Do. I talked about it, prioritize tasks in my day, manage tasks across your To-Do, Outlook, and Planner, view your flagged emails. Also inside of To-Do, you can create shared lists. And sometimes that is beneficial versus doing a full-blown plan. So we have some other, I believe, Jan, and other to-do and task management sessions we've done. We dive a little bit deeper into the shared list. So you might just look at those on Jan's YouTube channel and find one on task management from the past couple of years. And one of the things too that Planner added is a personal plan. So I talk about Planner being for team plans, but when they just did the revamp earlier this year, they added that you can now create a personal plan. And in a minute, I'm going to show you the difference between just your to-do list and a personal plan and the benefits of choosing to do that, and also some risks that come along with it. But with a personal plan, it goes beyond. You get to visually organize the task using the buckets. So if you've been using Planner, you understand what buckets are. You also get to add labels on. So not only do you have one level of organization, which is your grouping together with your buckets, but you can add a second layer of organization on there using the labels. Allows you can assign the task to yourself, which then automatically gets email reminders. You don't have to do anything. The system automatically does it. And it says, hey, you have some tasks that are, coming up to be done or they're late. You get to filter and sort. You have just more filter and sort features than you do over in the To-Do app. So when you are in the planner, it's going to be inside a planner. and you go to my tasks, you then see your private tasks. And so that's what that looks like. If you create a plan, and so I just called this sample one personal plan in the basic planner, not the premium. And so the difference is when I look at my private task and I do a group by progress, I just get not started, in progress, completed, and I can do some other groupings up here. This is by progress, that could be by due date, those kinds of things. Your personal plan, you get those buckets. So you can do a to-do bucket, a marketing bucket, a social media bucket, and then add your tasks. You still get to do your grouping, you get to do your filters here. And you have views with your board view or your grid view. And your grid view, you can do that on your personal to-do list as well, your private tasks. That is more like an Excel spreadsheet kind of view versus your bucket view, which gives you the columns and the different buckets. And think of buckets as I have a whole bunch of tasks and how do they group together? So like some example here is they're all marketing tasks. So I want to group my marketing tasks together. I want to group my social media tasks together. And then you can expound upon that as you go into the team and the group plans of what your buckets might want to be. So I think there's some advantages to that. A disadvantage, and I don't have it here, but so let me go back just one second. A disadvantage when you do a personal plan, okay? Think of it, those are mine. They're just for you. They're not for anybody else. But Microsoft does give you the ability to share and invite people. So the watch out here and a disadvantage is if you share this with somebody and you do not share it with a whole group of people, it will automatically create a new Microsoft 365 group / a SharePoint site. And so you kind of get crazy in the Wild West behind the scenes for the admin people to clean this up. So really, if you're creating that personal plan, make sure it's a personal plan, or if it does need to move to a group plan, that you add it to an existing group and don't accidentally create a new one. So that's your
Hey,
one.
Dan, I was going to interrupt real quick. For those of you that joined after we started, please be aware this is awareness training. This is a lot of content, but it's giving you a high level understanding of what it's a complex area within the Microsoft suite. If Nancy was doing real end user training, it would be a lot slower and a lot whatever. So just want to make you aware of that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jan. Yes, this is a lot of information. Okay, so I just put in here some examples of what does the task card look like versus the plan card. And you'll notice there's just more options on here that you can, is just a lot more information that you can put. Some of these on the task card they show, but you really don't have buckets, okay? So you can't really add a bucket there. It's just there, just part of their UI user interface in the background. So now, Planner Basic versus the Premium. And so anybody who has a Microsoft 365 license has the Planner Basic. And I say it's unlicensed because the Premium you have to buy an additional license for. So with the Basic, you get that visual organization using your buckets, the filter, the sort, the copy and export plans, the assign to me view. And when we go to Premium, you get everything in Basic plus some complex project management, those Gantt charts, those timelines, those dependencies. You can even add custom tasks fields so that if there isn't a field already on that task card of information you want, you can go ahead and create your own. You get to do conditional coloring, and that is really cool. If you're into agile project management, which includes backlogs and sprints and goals, those things are included in here as in the premium Planner Premium license. So that is nice.
Nancy, I'm going to interrupt with a quick question. Just Jessica's asking, is there a recommendation to use both or pick one version of the over the other so that you don't have personal tasks in two places? Jessica, did I say that right?
Yes,
So-
and I just added between to do and the personal plan, like the personal planner plan in planner, because you kind of showed both. And so I just didn't know how they work together or if it is recommended you pick one or the other. Does that make sense?
They're going to show up. If you go to Planner, you're still going to be able to see a list of all of your tasks, whether they're in a plan or whether they're in the to-do. So it really is still one place to go. You might have to do a couple clicks to go, okay, let me verify this, let me verify that. It doesn't matter for the personal ones. You have the option. The personal planner, like I said, it just gives you a few more fields. It gives you a few more ways you can organize information.
Got it. Thank you.
Great question.
So if I have a Planner Premium license, so say Jan and I, right, we're both in the same company. She has a Planner Premium license and I don't. The licensed user has the ability to add things like dependencies, goals, do some reports, look at the charts or play with the charts, add the custom fields, put durations on, take a look at the resource, the people loading, where when we look at an unlicensed user, they just have the basics, okay? So they can still see a plan. This is the marketing campaign that was created in Planner Premium, and the unlicensed or the basic access user, they can still see the marketing campaign plan if they're in that team and it's been shared with them, but they cannot edit all of the fields. So it really looks very similar. It's just what can or can't they do with that particular plan. And so not everybody, so my point here is not everybody in the team or in the organization needs to have a Planner Premium license to be able to participate in a plan that was created as a premium plan. And so if we look at, here's a license user. So this is the premium license. This is the basic user. So like duration. So it's grayed out. They can't do anything with that. If we come over here, the effort, I can't mess with the effort, but as a licensed user, I can do that. This is the dependencies. And so the basic or the unlicensed user can't do anything with dependencies. They can't do anything with goals. So it's just, you know, they can see things, they just can't do everything. And so I've had several clients that the manager of that or the leader of that particular project, we give them the premium license and we don't give the rest of the team members the premium because they don't necessarily need it. And so on premium, this is just a grid view. I just wanted to show an example. What I love about the new Planner Premium, or formerly Project on the Web, is that you can do subtasks. You can even, if you're my engineers, they love to put numbers on them. And they're actually one of the columns that you can show is the outline. And so they can see how they outline, so you don't have to create a column for that. If you have looked at or played with Monday.com boards, this is very similar in the ability to go ahead and have those subtasks. And so, you know, that is hugely beneficial. When we then go from the grid view to the board view, another thing that I talked about, the conditional coloring, or just, you know, being able to color, you can take your buckets now and your buckets can be different colors. So, you know, it's lovely to be able to say, this is one approval needed. I want it to stand out, right? So let's make it a color. And then you'll notice that we're able to add all sorts of, I had mentioned labels. So there's all sorts of labels that we can put on to do some more organization and some filters.
Nancy, I know you're not an expert in Monday.com, but from what you're seeing, can Planner One replace Monday.com?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. We have a bunch of clients right now that want to get off Monday, so good, awesome.
Yeah, the Planner Premium or Planner Plan One, which is Planner Premium, can definitely replace Monday.com. And I don't know loads about Trello, but I would say it can also replace Trello, because usually what I'm seeing is clients are using either Monday or Trello and going, but Planner doesn't have these features. Well, now it does.
Yeah, and there's a reason. Microsoft's seeing the competition and adding on features, so it's good.
Right. So with the Planner Premium, I've talked about, you have your grid view, your board view, that's with or without a license, the timeline, which gives you your dependencies, charts, people, which is your resource loading, how many tasks do the people working on this project have, and you can create goals, whether they're project goals or they're higher company goals, you can add those too. So here's what the dependency looks like, and it's kind of nice. And you can drag these right from here. So you don't even have to, these are created by dates, start and end date of the task. But when you look at the timeline view and the dependency view, you can grab these and drag them around. And as soon as you change the how long it's going to take to build this email, if I make it and say, oh, it's going to take me longer than those X number of days, it automatically adjusts everything. So that is a really nice benefit. And that's one of the disadvantages I hear from clients of doing something like this in an Excel spreadsheet that shows a similar view, is that it's not always, if I change a start date of something, I have to then go and change all the rest of my dates in my Excel spreadsheet. So.
Mhm.
And so this is what, this is another view. This is just the timeline view. This is the dependency view that you can, drag around. So it's kind of nice. And I'm just going to quickly go through these because I want to get to the next section, just showing you that's what the charts look like. This is the, how many people are here. I'm working on this project and how many tasks do they have, so that you can look at resource loading and go, oh, Nancy only has, she's done with her tasks. And Jan still has 20 tasks. So we're going to add these next 2 tasks or 5 tasks to Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy.
And then this is the goals. So once you add a goal, whatever it happens to be, then you can add the tasks that need to be completed to that particular goal. Here's just a quick, now don't ever go with what the pricing is that we show you, because Microsoft changes it. I just got notice that my Teams premium license is going up. So, and if I hadn't seen the email, I might not have known about it. So right now, this is what it is. I'm not even going to talk to, Project Plan 3 or Project Plan 5. Maybe something that you need to consider for your organization, but Planner Plan 1 or Planner Premium works for the majority of our clients. All right, Copilot, here's what you came for, right? So with Copilot, they just keep putting it everywhere, right? It just keeps getting better. If you haven't been aware, Copilot is now uses Chat GPT 5, not 4, which is the next generation. So Microsoft stays on top of as Chat GPT is learning. Microsoft is also making sure that it is utilizing the newest model out there. Some of the skills that Copilot in Planner can do is it can actually generate a full plan for you. And you have to, you need to learn how to prompt it, how to explain to it exactly what you want it to do, but it will generate your full plan. It includes your tasks, your subtasks, it creates your buckets. It can even create the goals for you. You can have it generate and add tasks, put them in buckets, add goals, add goals to an existing plan. So you don't have to start from scratch. If you have a plan, you can talk to Copilot and ask it to do these things. I love the one, what tasks are due this week, whether they're your specific task or you're the manager, and you can say, hey, tell me what tasks the team's working on this week. Also, you can ask it to look at that people, right? That resource load, who has the highest workload? Which tasks are, how many tasks are behind or late? So, depending on the plan you have, you also may need a Copilot license. I believe as you go to Project Plan 3 and 5, I think it's included, but don't take my word for that. Ask your IT people to look at it or talk to Microsoft if you're a solo shop and that's who you work with. So what can it do? Since when I first put this presentation together, it was Copilot in preview. And so that was the little Copilot icon up here on the right-hand side. It has since changed, and yours may still say preview when you're in here, or it may show something else, which I'll get to in a second. But when you clicked on in preview, the little Copilot icon, it would pop up just like Copilot does when you're in a browser or when you're in Outlook or any of the other Office apps. And it says, okay, I'm going to give you a few ideas of what you might want to do. And then you tell me what it is. So you can click on these, or you can, prompt it and ask it whatever you want. And so beautiful thing, right? Love it.
Hey, Nance, quick question. Jen's asking, is this view only for premium paid planner?
Ah, I
It's so
I
confusing
don't-
with all the changes.
I don't have the answer for that.
Yeah,
I would have to look at my basic user.
don't worry about it. It's okay.
I think there's some of the Copilot stuff that is automatically built in, but as I said, when we talked about licenses back here, is that, you need to double check, because there are some things, if you have a Copilot license, it shows up in everything. If you have a Planner Premium, you get some Copilot features, but not everything that you would if you have a Copilot license. So for some of these things, you need a Planner Premium and a Copilot license. For
Got it.
others, you do not.
Perfect. The world of Microsoft.
And I am
Good
not
stuff.
in IT. I don't stay on top of that. I plan that my IT folks know all the licensing requirements and I don't have to. Good question.
And by the way, you can ask the free version of Copilot that exact question and it will probably be right. So
Probably right. I love the probably, Arnie.
I always say probably because, if it's high dollar consequences or life or death, always check your references, no matter
Yes.
how good Copilot gets.
Good
Right.
call, Arnie.
And
Thank you.
Copilot even says when it returns something, it says, AI can make mistakes. It's up to you to make sure that you're verifying what you're going to put places.
Yeah, it's standard line for any AI tool.
So here we are with that marketing plan, right? We have a whole bunch of stuff here and it says, okay, I created tasks. Here I said, build me a whole new plan, create a marketing plan. And it went ahead and it created the whole marketing plan. It put all my subtasks in there for me and I didn't have to do anything. So it's a beautiful thing to start from a plan from scratch. You can also have Copilot reference meeting minutes that you talked about it, right? And go from there. So recently, and you may or may not see this, and I do believe this is, you do need to have the premium with this. So Microsoft has added a Copilot project management agent. Now I put preview on this, so it depends on where you are, what licenses you have. When you get update rollouts, you may or may not see the project manager agent. Okay. So again, talk with your IT department, say, hey, if I want this, or, go do some searches on it. But instead of having Copilot up here in the top, it's down here. This little agent guy is down here. And that's what you go ahead and click on. And so it is very cool. It does very similar, right? It pops up. It says, what do you want to do? Do you want to understand something? Do you want to edit something? Do you want to ask me some questions? Do you want to create? So it continues to give you prompts, which if you haven't used any Copilot or chat agent or AI agent, it's lovely when it helps you figure out what you want to ask it.
Yeah, we're building a lot of Copilot agents for clients. In this day and age, it's really hard for everybody to understand the nuance on prompting and how to point to the right documents. And that's what an agent does, is helps you make sure you're looking at the right information and it's following the right process. So it's a great tool.
Yep. So with the agent, I went into it and I said, hey, one of the first questions I asked it for this particular sample plan that I have here is I said, can you add some goals based on, and I gave it some parameters, and it went ahead and it added like 5 goals for me. And I'm like, yay, but I didn't have any tasks under each of these goals. So how do you reach the goal? So I went in here and I said, go ahead and please generate these tasks. And so the first one, which was reach 5,000 unique web product with the landing page, it went ahead and it said, okay, here's what I think are the subtasks to reach that goal. And so when I asked the agent to go ahead and create these subtasks on these goals, not only did it do it for the first one, but it did it for all the rest of them. I only did generate on the first one. And so if this was a live page, I could scroll down and the 5 or 6 goals that are listed here, I would click generate tasks. And so again, I think that is just fantastic because I don't have to sit here and go, oh, so what do I need to do to accomplish this? It helps you and makes it so easy. One of the newest things that it added that I think that came with this agent is reports. And so these are status reports. If you are a manager and you need to do a summary of what is the status of the project that you're working on and present it to the executive leadership team or the stakeholders or whoever it is, you can go into reports and you can say, okay, go ahead and get started. And again, AI prompts us with a couple of things. It says, what's your reporting period? And is there something very specific that you want me to cover? Otherwise, it just does a very high level, but you can be very specific. And then you go ahead and click generate. And so it comes back and it gives you an executive summary and it says, as of this date, here's what's going on. It also gives you a section that says about the project. So it kind of gives you that little overview and summary of the whole project. What are the highlights and achievements? What are some challenges and delays for the project? What is the work in progress right now? And are there any upcoming actions? In this particular report I generated, there were not. And I'm like, wow. You then can take that and you can email it or you can have it so that you can present it in those executive or those stakeholder meetings to let them know, or you can post it if that's how your company works, post it someplace where that executive team is going to go and say, all right, all of these projects, they posted, here's the status of it. You can even, once this is done, say, simplify this down to the top 5 bullet points. So you can just keep refining it. What do you want to show those stakeholders and that executive team? Saves lots and lots of time from trying to go through and look at all the tasks and what's the status and why are we behind and yada, yada. You can get at least a draft and you can also edit it once you save it too. The newest feature they're rolling out that I just found out this week as I was doing some more, making sure I was up to date, is they are going to be adding, and yours may already have this, but it does need to be a new planner premium plan that you create, and then it will automatically add the whiteboard. And so if you are using whiteboard for stand-up meetings, as this references, and you come up with, okay, here's some tasks, it is going to allow you to go ahead and select those 4 Post-it notes or those cards on the whiteboard and go ahead and automatically create tasks. So that everything then is integrated. It's not like, oh, I have this whiteboard, or as I mentioned before, you know, you have this list, your minutes of here's what we talked about and here's the task. No, now we got to go and enter them in as tasks. If you put them on the whiteboard as you had your meeting, you can automatically have the Copilot agent go ahead and add those tasks to your plan. You will need to go and tweak it, right? You're going to have to make sure that they go in the right board and that they're assigned to the right person and maybe add some more context to it. But if it can at least take all the words on this card and make that a task in your plan, that is huge and it saves time. All right, quick adoption strategies, and then I'm turning it back to Jan. Lots of stuff.
That's it was great, Nance.
Any new implementations, anytime we're changing, we're adding especially new apps, you know, it's very important, these things. One, it's behavior change, right? Because people are going to be going, oh, I don't want to learn this new app. Our Excel sheet was just perfect. I don't want to change the way I do this. And so how do you help with behavior change? Number one, leadership engagement. It's fundamentally is a different way of working along with that behavior change, right? Making sure that it's well-defined financial and operational targets. Why are we doing this? What are we trying to achieve? And that's one of the things that, you know, that's why Jan shows the case studies, so that it's like, yes, we have clients we're working with. These are the things that they did. This is what they were looking for, and this is their ROI at the end of it. Also, it's really important with adoption that the team members and the staff learn from each other, as well as, you know, training sessions and lead by example, I always say. So envision, one of the first ones is, and this it's critical in the journey as you're setting up so you can measure your success. You want to say, okay, envision, what does the team look like? What is the business strategy look like? And what is the readiness of our team, our organization, our project, and those things. So you want to make sure that you're pulling that information together first. Onboard, you want to work with those key stakeholders to build and launch. You want to make sure that you prepare your environment and you test your adoption approach with early adopters. So get that environment prepared. We've talked a couple of times today how important it is for Copilot especially to give you the right answers in having your teams and your SharePoint sites set up and organized in a certain fashion, making sure that the permissions and who has access and who doesn't have access and what do they have access to is set up. So that's part of preparing that environment. Building that adoption plan, what is that going to look like? And with that, bringing in if there's early adopters. So I had a client with a Planner Premium and they're like, we need project. And so I met with different groups, or just to say different managers from different groups. And some of them, after I showed them the demo, are like, yeah, we don't need it. Others are like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I need. So, the ones that said, yeah, I don't think I need it, they didn't pursue it. The other teams and department managers that said, this is exactly what our team needs because I keep trying to put something like this together, then those were our early adopters. Those are the ones that we worked with. And also with the onboarding, you're going to have to adjust your plan because any best laid plans, even I find, driving someplace, right? Any distances, you have to adjust. So thank goodness for GPS in the car, right? Because it's like, oh, I need to get off to do something and it puts me back on. But you have to be able to adjust your plans as you go through this. Drive value. So full-scale development and business success does depend on usage and satisfaction. And if we go back again to, Jan showing you that case study, what did she tell you? What was the usage and what was the satisfaction? The employees were happier. Those doing and putting together the plan, the project were together, right? I mean, we're happier too. And so that is important in going back and keep, whether it's the early adopters, whether it's the whole organization, monitor what's happening. What is that adoption? And your IT departments, there are so many things in that administrative panel that they can let you know if you are starting to roll out any of these apps, Teams, Planner, Project, whatever it happens to be. They have in the back, they can get some statistics that show here's where we started before we started rolling out Teams or Planner Premium. And here's the usage now. And hopefully it goes from 0 and it goes up significantly and stays there that people use it. Measure and report that usage and encourage that ongoing engagement. So that is adoption quick in a nutshell. And I believe next week or next month, or not next month now, November session is going to touch on some more adoption strategies for you to go ahead and take a look at.
Perfect. Phew, good job, Nance. So thanks everybody for hanging on. This was definitely a longer session. She had a lot she needed to cover, so I appreciate you being here. I'm just going to wrap up with a couple quick slides. A lot of times people will find our YouTube channel and be like, who is this company? Do they work for Microsoft? Who are they? We do not work for Microsoft. What we see is the waste that companies don't fully leverage the software they're currently paying for, and so that's our goal. We come in and really augment your internal IT and external IT as Microsoft 365 experts. Most IT personnel don't know how to help solve business issues with software. That's really the niche where we're in. And so we come in and really assess the situation, peek under the hood, look at how you have things set up, if necessary, migrate things to different places, and then move into the optimize phase, like using Planner and some of the other things. And then ultimately we wrap up. Our intention is not to have our clients be dependent on us. And good. Part of our secret sauce is all around adoption. We will have companies reach out to us and say, hey, Jan, can you do OneNote training for our employees? And I'm like, sure, Nancy, you could do that in a heartbeat, but we don't recommend it. We recommend you really take a step back. And again, we would guide you in this and help you figure out how OneNote is going to be used. What are the use cases? And let's say you're going to use it for meeting minutes and agenda items, then we would train specifically to using it for that purpose. So people actually pay attention and know the next day they're going to have to start using it that way. So there's a million different ways to configure everything in Microsoft. And so it's important to come up with what we call your rules of engagement or your operations manual, and then train for that. Just a reminder, the session in November, I'm going to enter some links into chat. The session in November, again, is on a Friday, and it's on simplifying meeting management. We're going to be touching on a couple new tools that I don't think we've touched on Loop yet, more on Copilot, and I think we're going to get into that whiteboard more as well. So attend that when you can, or just register to get the recording. The QR code, again, is for the people on the recording that can't access the chat. So that's perfect. And then now we'll open up for Q&A. We just have a couple minutes left. So Nance, go ahead and stop sharing. Awesome job, Nance. That was a lot of great content. Again, our goal is just to raise your awareness of what's possible. Also probably to raise your awareness of the complexities of Microsoft, and that there are things we would never recommend you use and things we would recommend you use. So does anybody have any questions? Nance, you can go ahead and stop sharing your screen. Still, yeah, perfect. All right, does anybody have any remaining questions? And if not, it's totally fine. Oh, thanks, Diana.
I had a question about how much of what Nancy was showing is Copilot, just the license, versus Copilot with Planner One or Premium?
I think did you answer that before, Nance? That it kind of depends on sometimes you need Copilot paid and sometimes you need Planner One. Nancy, you're muted. I don't know how that happened.
Oh, because I muted me when I was done. So one of the problems that I always have is that I have the Copilot license, so it gets interweaved in everything. If you are in a corporation, I would just make sure ask the IT people. They should be able to check that out. If you are a solopreneur or a small business and you don't have an IT department to ask, I would go directly to Microsoft and I would ask them that question. I would like to use all of these wonderful Copilot features inside of Planner Premium, because definitely Planner Premium, you get some of the Copilot extra features in there, but I cannot tell you exactly what features I'm getting because I pay for Copilot or what features I'm getting because I pay for Planner Premium.
Yeah, our team member in November has even a lot deeper knowledge on Copilot. They'll probably be able to answer that question. And they also, I see some question about the whiteboard. We're definitely going to dive in more about the whiteboard in the November one. Nance, I don't know if you know the answer to that.
But the question here is, yes, you do have to do a new Planner Premium plan. Okay, you have to have the premium license to get the whiteboard. I do not know. I did not read anything about will they eventually, if you have Planner Premium, add the whiteboard icon to existing plans. But I absolutely read that you can get whiteboard in there if you create a new plan. Because I was looking in my environment and I went, I don't see whiteboard. Why don't I have it? And then I read the little fine print that said, must be a new Planner Premium plan to get the whiteboard.
Yeah, a lot of this is so new and constantly changing. So I know in November we'll have even more current information. So thanks for the kudos. Yeah, Nance always does a fabulous job. Jen is asking, would love to hear about Copilot use for Planner Premium portfolios. Is that for us like a suggestion for a future webinar, Jen?
Yeah, I used to use the road mapping, and I don't know if that's a replacement or something similar, but just in that whole vein of where I can leverage Copilot within.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for being on, Nance. Awesome job. Good to see everyone.
Thank you. Really good.
See you later. Thanks.